Okay. Now let's look at generalization of neural networks beyond binary classification. So let's say if we have n-ary classes, let's take the example of 3 classes. So let's say we have cats, we have an image which is either a cat or a dog or neither. Okay, so we have 3 classes now. So the question becomes that how do we encode this output, how do we encode this target output, and how do we formulate the loss to train the neural network for a n-ary class classification. So here so how it works is, first of all, the encoding of this is going to be in 1 hot bit encoding, right? So before this, if we had binary classification, if it was just cats and dogs, cat or dog, then our encoding was like we'll pick one of the classes and we will encode 1 if we get that class, and we will encode 0 as if it is not that class. So that is very simple for binary classification, and what that means is that either one of the classes is the base class and the other class is either present or not present, right? It is, if it is not present, then the base class is present, and so it's mutually exclusive, and you need only one output or a scalar output, which is probability of the positive class, and we can train for that using cross entropy loss. Now in n-ary classification, we are going to generalize over that concept, and the generalization is not that difficult. It is just a straightforward generalization. So the first thing is about encoding ti, right? So let's say if we have, for the ith input, we have the target vector ti, then it is going to be one of these vectors. So it is either going to be 1 0 0, 1 0 0, that means only the first class is present, or it is going to be 0 1 0, or it is going to be 0 0 1. So it's going to be a 3-dimensional vector, but it can be only one of these 3 vectors. This is called 1 hot bit encoding. If it has n different classes, then we will have n different such vectors, and each of them will have exactly 1 1, and rest of the terms will be 0. That is called 1 hot bit encoding. Okay, so this is the structure of of t. This in fact encodes a target probability mass function. In that target probability mass function, we have let's say cat, we have dog, and we have neither. And we either have cats as 1 and dogs as 0 and neither as 0, or we have cat as 0 and dog as 1 and neither as 0, or we have cat as 0 and then dog also as 0 and neither as 1, right? So all these 3 have to add up to 1. So our output is going to be continuous, but it has to emulate, it has to try to come close to this t. So this t is now going to be a vector, because you see that there are 3 dimensions here. Similarly, our y is also going to be a 3-dimensional vector. Okay, and basically this is going to be we will call it as y1, yi1, yi2, and yi3, or for whatever c number of classes, yic. I will just write it 3 here for simplicity. Okay, so this is going to be the vector y, and it is going to be such that sum of yij, j ranging from 1 to c, is equal to 1. Okay, and yij is greater than equal to 0 and less than, or greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to 1 for all j, for all I and j. Okay, so it's going to lie between 0 and 1. Okay, so that's the probability mass function interpretation. Now we want to bring these two closer. So what we will do is we will try to minimize the cross entropy between these two terms. Okay, so now where does this yi come from? It comes from a generalization of of the softmax or the sigmoid function, which is called the softmax function. So what we will have is in the final output, okay, we are going to have zi, and this zi is going to be this vector zi1, zi2 and zi3. Okay, and the only condition on z is that it belongs to the real line. It can be either positive or negative. So this is going to be the output of the previous layer, where it is computed by taking whatever is the activation of the I minus 1th layer, right? We will multiply that with the weight matrix wi, sorry, not I minus 1, L. So let's say I'll just call it A. So we will have some weight times the activation, right, and some bias vector, and that will basically give us this. And what is this activation? This is the output of the previous layer, output of previous layer, last but one layer. And this can have a different dimension than the dimension of z, but z and y will have the same dimension. Z, y and t, all three of these will have the same dimension, okay, which is the number of classes. Now how do we convert this zi, which is an output of a linear transformation of the previous layer, to a probability mass function? So we will send this into something called a softmax activation. This is one of those activations which does not exactly work point wise. It looks at all the other activations, all the other activations also. So basically what we have is, we have yij is going to be equal to e to the power, okay, we are going to have zij, okay, divided by sum over j is equal to 1 to all the number of classes, okay, e to the power zij. Okay, so what this means is that for the ith output, for the ith input, we are going to compute a probability mass function which is c dimensional. C is the number of classes. Here it is 3 dimensional output, and all the numbers are going to add up to 1. How are they going to add up to 1? We will normalize everything by dividing by the sum of all the numbers, which is what you see in the denominator here, and in the numerator we will have e to the power the previous activation for only that class. Okay, so now this z can be either a negative number or a positive number, but e to the power z is always going to be between e to the power z is always going to be positive, and e to the power z divided by sum of all e to the power z's is going to be between 0 and 1, and they will all add up to 1. So they will be normalized, and we can interpret now y as a probability mass function. Okay, so that is now the interpretation of this is now the generalization of the sigmoid function to n classes instead of just binary classes, and this is called the softmax transformation. Soft, so it's like a max but it is soft. Softmax. What it means is that if one of the z's is much larger than the other, then we will have a max indicator, or we will have yij equal to close to 1 for that particular zj. So that is the interpretation of this yij, and now we want to bring this yij close to tij. Okay, and the way to do that is to use a generalization of the cross entropy loss, and this is basically n-way cross entropy loss, and it is very simple. Basically we are going to have a negative sign, and then we are going to have a sum over j, okay, and we are going to have tij, okay, and log of yij. Okay, this is pretty much it. This is our loss, and then if we want to have it over all the training points, then we might also have sum over I and with a negative sign. Okay, So negative of sum over I, sum over j, and then Tij log of Yij. So now think about how it is working. If Ti is 0, right, so then basically Ti times log of Yi does not matter, it does not contribute. But if Ti is 1, then the loss can only be minimized if Yi is a large value, or large value as in close to 1 as opposed to being close to 0. So when Yi is close to 1, then we are going to have, because of the negative sign, we are going to have 0 loss. If it is close to 0, then we are going to have infinite loss. So the loss profile looks like what you saw earlier, that for different Yij, assuming Ti is 1, it is going to be infinite, and then it is going to come to 0 at when Yij is equal to 1. So that remains as it is, but this is how we will set up NLE classification. An interesting thing to note about this is that when we take its derivative, and we take the derivative and send it back towards z through the softmax, then basically the derivative with respect to z is quite simple. It is simply Ti minus Yi, and that is something you can follow the derivation. It is given in many sources. So basically it simplifies quite a bit. Another thing to note here is that if you look at this softmax function, and you assume that C has only 2 values, right? So C can be either 1 or 2. In that case, this quickly can be transformed into the logistic function, except that we will have to take zi1 minus zi2. In those terms, it will come out to be a logistic function. So that's if we divide the numerator and denominator by zi1, for example, then we will get that form where we will have 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus zi2 divided by minus zi1. So that it has a close connection, or it's just a simple extension of the logistic function. That is what the softmax activation is. So the reason this is an activation is that activation is always applied over z, right? It's a nonlinearity applied over z, but it requires us to look at all the other activations also, all the other outputs also, the zij for other j, and this is how it is different from other point-wise activations such as ReLU or TANH or sigmoid.